If you make the biggest mistake of your life, learn to live with it as a part of who you are. She was once the epitome of beauty, style, and elegance. Jackie Kennedy, a name forever intertwined with the glamour of Camelot. But behind that shimmer were wounds that never healed. A woman who had everything only to lose it all time and again in the cruelest ways. At the age of 64, her life came to a close in a sorrow that America would never forget. How could a woman who once stood at the pinnacle of fame meet such a tragic end? Join me as we delve into the story behind Jackie Kennedy's shining facade on July 28, 1929. In the peaceful coastal town of Southampton, New York, Jacqueline Lee Bouvier let out her first cry. Born into an upper-class family of French, Dutch, Irish-American descent, Jackie was raised in luxury, surrounded by elegant saris and a strict education. Her father, John Vernou Bouvier III, a handsome but free-spirited stockbroker, and her mother, Janet Lee, a graceful woman from a wealthy background, shaped Jackie's childhood into one both dazzling and demanding. From a young age, Jackie stood out with her classic beauty, deep-set eyes, soft brown hair, and an aura of regal elegance. But beyond her looks, Jackie was known as a bright, curious girl with a passion for the arts. She devoured books, studied ballet, and had a particular love for writing. At school, Jackie was voted the smartest and most charming girl in the class, a rare combination. During her teenage years, Jackie attended prestigious institutions such as Miss Porter's School and later Vassar College. In 1949, she studied abroad in Paris, where she developed a deep love for literature, art, and French fashion. This period would define the refined and elegant style that later became the iconic Jackie signature admired around the world. Upon returning to the US, Jackie worked as a photojournalist for the Washington Times-Herald. Her intellectual charm and poise in interviews quickly made her a standout figure in Washington. It was there that she met a young, ambitious politician, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That meeting marked a turning point in her life. In 1953, the wedding of Jacqueline Bouvier and John F. Kennedy took place in Newport, Rhode Island, attended by thousands of guests, the press, and powerful names. It was hailed as the wedding of the century, a political prince marrying a graceful princess. When Kennedy became president in 1961, Jackie became First Lady at just 31 years old. Her image, elegant in Chanel dresses, speaking fluent French before world leaders, captivated the globe. Americans dubbed the Kennedy family and Jackie as Camelot, a fairy tale kingdom in the modern world. In marriage, Jackie fulfilled her role as wife and mother. She had 4 children with Kennedy. Behind the political spotlight, the Kennedy-Jackie family was also burdened with private grief. But Jackie always maintained a radiant exterior, hiding her tears so that the BC public would only ever see the image of a perfect First Lady. Photographs of Jackie playing with her 2 young children on the White House lawn or tender moments beside Kennedy on official trips became etched in the memories of an entire generation of Americans. To the public, they symbolized youth, hope, and a confident, vibrant America. But in the end, it was all just a dream, because fate was preparing for Jackie, a wound from which she would never recover. The cascade of tragedies began here. Tragedy in Dallas. On November 22, 1963, the Dallas sky was radiant with sunshine. Jackie Kennedy appeared beside her husband in a sleek, open-top limousine dressed in a pink Chanel suit and an elegant pillbox hat. Crowds cheered and waved flags to welcome the most powerful couple in America. At that moment, America looked like a picture of happiness. The president smiled and waved, Jackie glowing beside him. The couple looked as if they had stepped out of the fairy tale called Camelot. No one could have imagined that just minutes later the dream would be shattered. A shot rang out, then another. Jackie turned her head to see her husband collapse, blood spreading across his deep blue suit. In a state of panic, she climbed onto the trunk of the car, reaching for fragments of his shattered skull, an image so haunting the world would never forget it. The car sped to Parkland Hospital. Jackie sat frozen, cradling John's head in her lap, her pink dress soaked in blood. 30 minutes later, President Kennedy was pronounced dead, and Jackie, just 34 years old, became a widow before the horrified eyes of millions around the globe. She refused to change out of her bloodstained suit, telling a White House staffer, "I want them to see. I want them to see what they did to Jack." Those words weren't just defiance. They were the agonizing cry of a wife who had just witnessed her husband's assassination with her own eyes. The state funeral unfolded in tears. Jackie, dressed in black, holding the hands of little Caroline and John, stood by the flag-draped casket, a scene that left the world in grief. John's innocent salute to his father in military fashion was heartbreakingly pure yet unbearably tragic. From that moment, America lost its young president and Jackie lost her entire world. Camelot crumbled in the gunfire of Dallas, leaving behind a legendary widow, forever marked by a wound that would never heal. Marriage to Onassis, a bitter escape from the ghost of the past. After John F. Kennedy's death, Jackie was consumed by grief. She became the national widow, mourned by millions of Americans, yet relentlessly pursued by the media spotlight. With 2 young children, Jackie yearned for stability, a safe haven where she could escape the shadows of politics and violence. In 1968, Jackie shocked the world by marrying Aristotle Onassis, the Greek shipping magnate, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men of his time. The wedding took place on the lavish island of Scorpios. But to the American public, it was a bombshell. People began calling her Jackie O with harsh criticism, accusing her of betraying the sacred image of the Kennedy widow. But few understood that Jackie didn't marry Onassis for romantic love, but for safety. She once confided to friends, "I can't let my children die the way their father did. I need someone who can protect them." In Onassis, she found a shield against political threats, but not a home filled with affection. The marriage quickly revealed its coldness. Onassis, known for his womanizing, paid little attention to Jackie beyond using her as a symbol to enhance his power. Jackie, once America's icon, now found herself isolated in a world of wealth that felt distant and hollow. During those years, Jackie lived between Greece and New York, always under the camera's gaze, shunned by much of the American public and targeted by a critical press. Trapped in a loveless marriage, she gradually withdrew, enduring in silence. In 1975, Aristotle Onassis died after a period of illness. Once again, Jackie wore black. In less than 12 years, she had become a widow twice, each time burying her hopes of ever finding peace. It seems she had escaped the tragedy in Dallas, only to walk straight into another equally cruel and unforgiving. Her final years in death at 64. After Onassis passed away, Jackie returned to New York and began a quieter life. She worked as a book editor at Viking Press and later at Doubleday. In the modest book office, Jackie was no longer the First Lady or Jackie O from magazine covers. She was simply a woman who loved literature, patiently editing manuscripts, finding comfort in her work and the written word. Though she lived quietly, Jackie remained in the public eye. The media followed her every move, and even fleeting romantic relationships were exaggerated into scandals. But close friends recalled that Jackie longed for just one thing: peace. After so much loss, from Kennedy's assassination to the death of her infant son Patrick and then Aristotle Onassis, Jackie no longer sought the spotlight. She simply wanted to be near her 2 children, Caroline and John Jr. In early 1994, tragedy struck again. Jackie was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The disease progressed quickly. Once a symbol of vitality and grace, Jackie grew frail, enduring agonizing pain. She still tried to maintain her calm smile, but it was clear to those around her that her strength was fading. On May 19, 1994, Jackie Kennedy passed away at her home in New York. She was 64. Her death cast a hush over America. Then President Bill Clinton remarked, "She gave this country more than we ever knew." As per her wishes, Jackie was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery beside John F. Kennedy. Her final resting place next to her first husband closed the chapter on a life filled with tragedy. As if after all the loss, Jackie had finally found peace beside the great love of her life. To Americans, Jackie was more than a graceful First Lady. She was a symbol of endurance, of beauty rising through heartbreak. A woman who had walked through both light and shadow, leaving behind a legacy that was as dazzling as it was sorrowful. Jackie Kennedy once said a simple yet haunting line: "If you make the biggest mistake of your life, learn to live with it as a part of who you are." Her entire life was proof of that truth. From an upper-class debutante to the youngest First Lady in U.S. history, to a widow before millions of eyes, a woman running from the spotlight, and finally someone who quietly passed away at the age of 64. She was called an icon of elegance. But elegance wasn't just in the way she dressed. It was in how she faced loss. Never collapsing, never complaining. She stood tall, guided her children through their father's funeral, smiled before the press, and went to work every day like any other woman. More than hours later, Jackie Kennedy's image endures. Her graceful brown hair, sorrowful yet strong eyes, her petite frame in that blood-soaked pink suit in Dallas, and her silent black silhouette beside the casket in Arlington. She may be gone, but the memory of Jackie has never left the American heart. At 64, the tragedy ended, but the legacy began. A reminder that behind every spotlight, we're all still fragile human beings. And what about you? Among all the images of Jackie Kennedy, which moment stays with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe so we can continue uncovering the untold stories, the lives that shaped history.